so this is not planned, so I just thought I'd jump in and give a quick talk. So I have given a couple of talks about Nix quite recently. Anybody, any Nix people, any Nix users in the room? One. 1.5 maybe. Okay, I started using Nix a few years ago, and it's a little bit confusing, but I'll just show a couple of demos and talk a little bit about what it is. And I've got a whole other talk that I've given about it, so if you want to learn more about it afterwards, you can go and look at the slides. I was down in PHP Thames Valley last year talking about this. That was quite fun. And then I'm starting to build like an ebook, PDF, sort of perpetually unpublished book about this as well, where I can dig into it a little bit more. But essentially it's a package manager. So if you're used to using things like Brew or Chocolatey or apt or Yum or Pacman, any of those sorts of things, Nix is one of those, and it works on any flavor of Linux and Mac OS as well. So you don't have to, if you're on a different Linux distro, which package manager am I on? It doesn't care, it works on them all. So it's a package manager, it's a language, so the actual Nix thing is all built in the Nix language, and it's an operating system, Linux distribution, but you don't need to use the operating system to use Nix. You can just run the package manager on its own, and there is Nix Darwin as well for Mac OS. So, if you want to go on and see what it is, you can go to search.nixos.org and search for all the packages that are on there. So, we've got a PHP meetup, so let's have a look for PHP. And there's multiple versions of PHP in it, so 120,000 packages, including PHP 8.4, 8.3, 8.2, PHP Unit 8.1. So there's various PHP versions and PHP-esque things in there. This is looking at 2505. So Linux distributions are typically twice a year, in April and November, October. The Nix ones are slightly afterwards, so you'll get 2505 and 2511 for that. And there's also unstable, so I can see what is the current, more recent versions as it's being committed. And then there's also super unstable if you want to look at like master and everything. It's all on GitHub. So there's slightly newer versions if you do unstable. So I don't have PHP on my machine at all, right? So I can just run PHP. It doesn't show up with anything. And if I type PHP, it will just say PHP is not found. So I have no global version of PHP at all. But if I was to do something like this and go into like my website project, which is Sculpin, in here I do have PHP, because that project has a flake file, and I've configured it to work similar. You can do with like Docker Compose. It's just that folder knows it needs that version of PHP, but it works for everything, right? It works for if you're doing it with Node or with Go or MARP, if you're doing presentation slides. So it does all those things in it. And if I get back out of here, it's really easy just to say, if I've got a PHP file, so if I just look at something like test.php, it's a really quick demo I did when I was sat there, looking at one of those variables we were looking at earlier. So, like I say, I don't have one for PHP right now, but if I was to run something like this, so Nix gives you a command called Nix, and you can then say Nix run. You can tell it where to look. So Nix packages is the main package repository, 120,000 packages, and we've got to go and run PHP 8.2. It will download it, it will compile it, and then it will run it for you. And I can do the same thing with 8.3. I can do the same thing with 8.4. And the thing about it is because it's not installed globally, because I don't have that. But if I do a Nix shell this time, it will create a new shell with PHP in it. So it's just going to give that a second. It updates my path, and so now I can type PHP in here. So now I've got PHP inside this shell. So instead of having Docker with the whole operating system just to get a different version of PHP, Nix is going to do that for me and just link PHP to the right directory. Which is why you get these really crazy long names, because it's based on the versions and the dependencies as well. So if you do PHP with a different version, you get a different hash, which is why you have multiple PHPs at the same time. Yeah, so it's 120 other thousand things in there if you wanted to have a look. And it's really easy to package stuff up in here as well. So I was doing, looking at how to package up Sculpin, for example. So there's a whole idea of having derivations, which are how Nix bundles up the packages. So there's no packages in the Nix packages repo. It's just hundreds of these files written in the Nix language that tell you how to build the packages. So they're just loaded text files in the thing. And it knows how to get them from GitHub. It knows how to get them from GitLab, all these other places as well. But it knows how to build PHP. So there's a wrapper that says build composer project. You give it a name, you give it the version. It knows how to get the source code from GitHub. You give it the name and the owner and the name of the repository. Revision you want to clone, which is that one. And then this is the cool thing, it hashes everything. So it knows what all the hashes are. So if that one version was to change, I would know about it. So everything is not just repeatable, but it's reproducible as well. So you can run this in a CI pipeline or give it to somebody else and you'll get exactly the same version. So one of the things with Docker is, right, everything you do from latest can change, right? So things can move underneath you. This it can't. Same as you've got composer lock or package lock, Nix lock file, so it knows exactly the version of Nix packages it was built on, and we'll get exactly the same versions. And then, because it's a composer one, it also hashes the vendor directory as well, so it knows everything in there. So, yeah, really easy to get things up and running. If you're looking for a lightweight sort of alternative to Docker or sort of containers, it's a really good option, but it does the operating system and everything. But yeah, if you want to look on my website, got the whole sort of talk, and yeah, you can go and read this later on, which I'm continuously working on and publishing. But yeah, I'll do a longer talk about it at some point if there's any interest. So thank you very much. Cool.